Hey guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about a TikTok creator, Mandy on Earth, with outrage marketing and just being overall ridiculous. I also wanted to talk about safety and just a quick little blip on things that I've covered before, but a direct example of it. And I also want to talk about Acacia Kersey. She recently left her children unattended, and the outcome was absolutely awful, but I did want to cover it. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys. So Mandy on Earth is a TikTok creator, and right now she has 3,700 followers. She posts really outrageous content, so keep in mind that this is 100% outrage marketing, but it also doesn't mean that it shouldn't be called out. The video of hers that came across my For You page was actually another creator calling her out because Mandy the other day decided to pretend that she is homeless. And she went out there and spent a few hours pretending to be homeless. No, that is not exaggeration, that is the real deal. And she said things in her video like, if you are homeless, you are there by choice, just like I made a choice to go experience that. The only difference is the stories you are telling yourself. BS stories can be created to force you into that experience. And lastly, she said, even when you go by force, you go by choice because you wanted to have that experience. You just created a bunch of excuses of why you gave yourself permission to have it.
Yesterday, I pretended to be homeless for 3 hours, and I realized that if you're homeless, you're there by choice. Like, you are there by choice, 100% having that experience, just the way that I chose to go experience that by choice. It's just the only difference is the stories that you're telling yourself. So if you want to experience homelessness, you want to experience what it would be like to lose everything, you can go have that experience. Or you're welcome to create a bunch of bullshit stories in your life that force you, quote unquote, force you into that experience. But even when you go by force, it's still by choice because you wanted to have that experience. You just created a bunch of excuses for why you gave yourself permission to have it. It's just like any other experience that we have in life. It's no worse or better than having a home. It's no, different than anything else, but the experience does show you how much you take for granted.
So first, let's talk about the obvious point. People don't choose to be homeless. They have a set of life events that usually puts them in a place of being unhoused. And it's usually a long, painful road of things falling through the cracks. A lot of people that are homeless at one point in time, they had a job and a house and materialistic stuff, and they were able to go to the grocery store and, buy extra stuff, and it wasn't a big deal. But many times there are a set of tragic life events that put them in a place where they're no longer earning money. Maybe they have mental health struggles that, oh, I quit my job because I was no longer able to go to work because of my mental health. Maybe it's physical health. My job, I've heard of people, my job fired me because I had a physical health condition, and I didn't have the money to fight them in court, even though I knew that their decision was wrong to do. And in between mental health and physical health, we're not also talking about people who struggle with the disease of addiction. And maybe their addiction put them in a place where they could no longer pay for their home and their habit, and it put them out onto the streets. And even if we're not talking about all of those things, then we also have people that were working a job, they were laid off or fired, they couldn't find another job in time to be able to continue to pay their rent, their electricity, their gas, their water, their cable, their internet, their car payment, their car insurance, groceries, daycare bills, credit card bills, all of the things that all of us have to keep up with. And by the time, if and when they found that replacement job, they were so far behind, they owed $10,000 to all of these bill collectors. So they end up losing their house, and now their credit is in a bad situation, so they can't get approved for something else, even though they have a job and some income now. Or maybe their income isn't meeting the minimum qualification for the place that they can live. Like it's a vicious circle. So there's all kinds of different situations that make people homeless. For her to treat this as if it was some kind of like field trip where she went out and pretended to be homeless and it was just a fun Tuesday afternoon is incredibly alarming that somebody could do that, and not only do that, but feel comfortable enough to share it on social media as if they are coming to the table with some kind of bright idea and giving some kind of knowledge that nobody ever thought about. Oh, I understand now, being homeless as a choice. Like that is not something that any sane person would deliver and actually stand on those words. So aside from making that extremely problematic and disgusting video about pretending to be homeless, she has also made videos about being broke is a choice no matter what. In that video, she said things like, you can choose to stop being broke today. If you believe you have to work to make money, none of this is true. And in that same video, she said, all you have to do is appreciate yourself enough to actually enjoy your life. Who on earth do you think is going to pay your rent if you are not making money? Do you think that self-appreciation and self-love is going to pay your mortgage? Do you think that self-love is going to pay your car note or your car insurance?
Being broke is 100% a choice. No matter who you are, no matter what your story is, it's a choice. And you can choose to stop being broke today. You believe that you have to work for money, or you have to have a job or a business, or you have to provide value or something like that to make money. None of this is true. How do you know? How do you know that it's true? Because someone told you? Because that's the way that someone else did it? All you have to do is appreciate yourself enough to actually enjoy your life. Appreciate yourself enough to just know that everything is going to work out no matter what, and that you can just relax and do whatever you feel like doing because you're always going to be provided for. No, you must have been told that you need to earn it, you need to work for it. If you're ready to stop believing in all that BS and break free from the matrix, check out the link in my bio.
The whole thing is like she is creating outrage marketing to send people to her quote phase 2. It's a link in her bio where she teaches people about phase 2, and she makes videos basically saying that we're living in a video game and nothing is real, nothing around us is real.
When I first really started to accept that everything around me is not real, I was so scared. I felt like I was going insane until I found phase 2, and I found people that were living their life this way. Wealthy people living their life with absolutely no limitations, just following their intuition and just having fun with their lives, like, because they understand that this is a video game. When you really have that awareness, you can have so much more fun with your entire reality, because you aren't just wasting your time playing around with money problems and time issues.
Well, it sounds like one of two things is happening with Mandy here. Number one, she is creating outrage marketing, and that's just what her business model is, and she takes clicks even if they're bad and a negative comment, she will still take the clicks. Number two, she is somebody who needs to seek some mental health help, and I don't know what her problem is because I'm not here to diagnose anybody or anything like that, but it's pretty obvious it's one of those two things. Either this is just all, I don't care about the hate that I receive, I'm just going to keep on making these videos, because she has made many, which I will include a little montage of at the end. Or this is somebody who's not well and is putting this content out and not even remotely understanding the negative impact that it's making on people that have been homeless, they have been broke, they have, really struggled to make ends meet at the end of the month or even after a few months. So it's incredibly hurtful to make this kind of content, no matter what the kind of source is. But I wanted to share this with you guys as kind of a one-off because I could not believe that somebody out here in the year 2023 actually went out and pretended to be homeless for a few hours as if it was a field trip, and then she came back and returned her results and wanted to say that being homeless is a choice. It's so hurtful because there are so many people out there that are homeless that just had a set of really unfortunate circumstances that they could not recover from. And it's hurtful. It's hurtful to anyone who has been homeless, or maybe their friends or family have been homeless and they're trying to rebuild. And for this idiot to come out and act like this just reminded me of why some people hate social media.
It's literally just occurred to me. Intrusive thoughts are literally just your intuition. And they are fantasies and things that you think about that you want to say, oh, that's not me. But that's not me. The thought wouldn't be there if it wasn't you. If you weren't there, the thought wouldn't exist. So it's just you. So you can avoid it. You can avoid that intrusive thought until it manifests in your physical reality. Or you could just allow yourself to have the fantasy and accept that you want to have that intrusive thought. And it might not have to show up in your physical realm.
Something that wealthy people understand. You don't have to work for money. Nobody has to work for money. And a lot of times people lose completely everything before they realize this, because then they're homeless, they have nothing, and then all of a sudden it occurs to them that they can just exist and things will just be provided for them because it starts showing up. Once you have nothing to lose, you're not fighting against it. You're not trying to earn and work to get somewhere. There's nowhere to go. But when you lose everything, it can bring that all into perspective for you. That's why it's like an age-old tale that people who lose everything then all of a sudden become millionaires like super fast, almost overnight. If you haven't noticed, people don't really stay homeless. If they stay homeless, it's because they are enjoying the freedom of being homeless. Who told you that you have to work for money? Where did you learn that? How do you know? How do you know that that's the only way that you can get money? The only reason that you think that is because you don't appreciate yourself. Wealthy people appreciate the shit out of themselves, and that's why everything is just handed to them and provided for them in their experience. Click the link in my bio if you want to learn how to appreciate yourself. The information is there.
I've had days where I busted my ass working 8-hour days just to make like $200, and I've also had days where I sat around and did absolutely nothing and made $600. The only difference between these two experiences is that I stopped telling myself that money had to be hard. Money flows in and out of your experience in the way that you allow it to. So if you sit there thinking that you have to work super hard for money, that's going to be your experience. Your belief that money has to be hard to make is the only thing getting in the way of your money experience unfolding for you effortlessly. Making money does not have to be complicated or hard.
Now, the next thing I want to talk about real quick is Acacia Kersey. Acacia Kersey used to be a mommy vlogger, and I've talked about her in passing before. It's been a very long time since I've talked about her, but she is recently being discussed again because somebody took a photo of her where she was at a playground, like a local park that had a playground, with her 3 very young children, and she ended up leaving her children unattended and walked into the woods, and while she left them unsupervised, one of her children climbed on top of the vehicle, and another person that was at the park ended up taking a photo of this, and it's making its rounds on social media. What I want to say about this is obviously terrible, terrible, terrible idea. What are you thinking? You know, how dare you? All of the things. The second thing I want to say is that I understand, not directly, but I do have compassion for parents that, you know, you're a single parent, you're taking 3 kids to the park, and maybe things are at a point where you need to step away for a minute. I could not imagine, you know, if you feel like you need to step away for a minute, why not take your kids home so that they are in a safe place and then go into another room for a few minutes, have some alone time so that you can recollect your thoughts and be fully present as their mother. So I don't know what's going on with Acacia, and I don't want to mom shame her or come down on her too hard, because I don't know the circumstances of why she walked into the woods. Why on earth would she have left her kids unsupervised? I don't know what was going on to make her come to that decision to walk away. But obviously, her child could have been hurt very badly or worse. There could have been somebody, approach and do harm to her children or try to kidnap them. It could have ended very, very badly. So if she was having a moment where she needed to step away, walk away, you got to take your kids home first. I understand that walking away and having a minute solo is probably really powerful. You guys that are parents, sound off down below. I'm not a parent, and sometimes I want to, step into a room by myself to recollect my thoughts. So I imagine that's like quadrupled when you have especially little kids, because you have to keep an eye on them all the time, and it's a whole lot. But at the same time, if you are in a public park, I don't think that is the time to step away. So how do you guys feel about Acacia? Sound off down below. The last thing I want to talk about is a TikTok creator named Melissa that I follow. I've not followed her for very long, but essentially Melissa gained a larger following over on TikTok because sadly she lost her daughter to the disease of addiction. And she's been sharing what it's like from the seat of a mother who has lost a child, to that. And she's very transparent from what I have seen and what I feel. She's very real. She's very humble. She's a hard worker. I left a comment on her recent video because she shared that she's doing a small memorial garden in front of her house for her daughter Angel, the one that passed. And it looks lovely. Like, I'm sure that it's going to be really, really pretty. But she wanted to show TikTok what she was doing. And she not only showed the front of her house, but you could also see that through their front, like they have a big window in front of their house, that she had a poster that had a bunch of photos of Angel from Angel's memorial service. She went ahead and brought it home and put it in the window. I left a comment because I worry about people knowing that if they drive around the city that she lives in, which she has said the city that she lives in, all that they have to do is look for this color house and look for this little garden in front of it, and also look for the poster that is very clearly hanging in that front window. I think that Melissa is one of those people who, she's not doing this intentionally. She's not intentionally being unsafe, but I don't think that she realizes the reach that having 42,000 followers watch you might have. It takes one person to not like you. Maybe they don't or didn't like your daughter. Maybe they had a weird run-in and now they have a vendetta against one of your other kids. And people constantly take things way too far on the internet. So to give people the color of your house, the city that you live in, the fact that you have this memorial garden and you have a photo collage showing your daughter literally in the window, I just feel like it's a disaster waiting to happen. When I say something is a disaster waiting to happen, I'd like to clarify that I'm not necessarily talking about the worst of the worst. It could just be somebody who doesn't like you knocking on your front door and having words with you. And then this person now knows where you live because you open the door, and there's other things that they've been able to confirm through your own content. This is your house. It could be someone messing with your cars. It could just be anything. And I don't want to see this happen to even my worst enemy. Like, nobody deserves to have negative interactions with people showing up at their home. And because Melissa is still trying to grieve the loss of her daughter, she's trying to share that experience within reason on TikTok, I just feel really bad, and that's why I left her a comment, just from a place of concern. And I don't know, maybe she'll rethink it. Maybe she'll kind of realize, like, well, you know, my page is growing and I should probably be more careful with over divulging and oversharing information and giving my location and stuff. So either way, we can all hope that people will, you know, grow and change their perspective. But for now, we're here to talk about it. So that's going to be it for today. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.